Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. The face unafraid, the plans that we made. Walking in a winter wonderland. Hey, what's happening? How's it going? Good morning to y'all, where you might be watching from. Marcus. Wasn't planning to do this morning, but we had this unusual hit of snow last night. Look at this. Beautiful. Little last winter hit. I mean, it's beginning of March for crying out loud. We rarely get that much snow anyway. And we got hit with a bunch of it last night. It's not going to stick around though. What's happening? Oh, we got a bunch of people here. Crazy is in here. Ash K is here. Or actually, I should say John. Jay Pike. What's happening? So I do this mostly because this view is tremendous. But I've been getting back to the daily walks for a while. I haven't been recording, just doing it for my own exercise. Trying to get back into it. Plan is to stick with it for the year this time. Doing it for my health. And it feels good to do it. So, look at this. Here's my usual walking trail. I'm doing it reverse today, but it's kind of cool. Check it out. Light dusting of snow. A little early fog in the morning. It's crystal clear yesterday in the morning. And we just got a bunch of weird late snow last night. Anyway, let's see if I can try to walk and read these texts as we come in. Today's the start of the deadline, or the time period where teams can start franchise tagging certain players that they can't get a long-term contract with, but they want to keep around. Seattle probably won't be doing that. Let's see, what do we got here? Seahawks Nation wants to know what I think of KJ being the assistant linebackers coach for the Niners. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit yesterday. It's, I'm happy for him from a, opportunity standpoint. I got to take a quick picture of this because for those of you guys who've seen my Rivals videos, recognize this little spot. I've taken you here before. This is where we shot the Chicago Bears sketch with Brian Abker and Mark Collins as the Chicago Bears fan. We came walking in this way, talking about what do you do if a bear attacks, and Mark was leaning up against this tree eating Cheetos, comes charging that way, threw a hot dog at him, and the hot dog, didn't like it, comes running, charging at us, and hit him in the head with a beer. And that all happened right here. This is just a few minutes from my house. Anyway, going back to your question, what I think about it. It's always tough because you want to root for somebody in their next venture. And I know that's something KJ's wanted to do for a while. It was always in his bones to get into the coaching side, unlike some of the other guys who have retired. And had to be with the 49ers. It kind of reminded me of when, not as bad though, when Roman Sherman went down with the Achilles in that final year with the Seahawks, and then he ended up going to the 49ers. Remember feeling that same feeling. It's like, yeah, I get it, why it didn't work out here contractually and all that, but it had to be the 49ers of all teams. So it's hard when you're a guy you like and a guy who played for your team and goes and joins a rival team. So how do I say it? I wish him well as a coach. I just don't hope his team does well. I guess you could have both in the same sentence, right? You could have KJ be a great linebackers coach and the 49ers not make the playoffs, finish second, third, or fourth in division. I'd be okay with that. As long as it's not KJ's fault. KJ can keep his job and they can fire other people. But I'm sure KJ will continue to climb the ranks, eventually be a linebackers coach, I'm sure one day the ultimate goal would be for him to become maybe a defensive coordinator, and then maybe a head coach someday. You know, I imagine that's, if you're gonna go into coaching, that's your hope. So he's climbing up this hill here. Wow. Just gotta take it in today because I feel like this is probably it for the year. I'd be surprised if we get any more snow this late in the season. It is pretty cold out here, about 36 degrees. Glad I didn't do my lake jump in this weather. Holy cow. I mean, it was pretty cold that day, but whoo! If I had to jump in that freaking lake, that would have been really cold. Everything would have imploded. Maximum shrinkage and then some. Anyway, so there you go. Can't blame the guy. I'm not going to tell him you should take the job because it was the 49ers. You should never take the job. Like, come on, man. It's probably tough to get a job at all. I understand, at least from what I read, sources say KJ did try to get a job with the Seahawks first. So I was like, well, he tried. It didn't happen. So what's he going to do? Just say, Seahawks or nothing. You know, you got to do what you got to do. So good luck to him. Just not good luck to his team. Just say that. Let's see, who else we got? No snow in Puyallup. I know it's weird. We drove down, I drove Vanessa down to her practice yesterday, which is in Tacoma, and just the rain. There's no snow, just up here. I mean, it's a good amount here. I'm seeing it's like, you know, there's a good inch of snow. If you look at it, it's pretty good. I thought it was just going to be like this light little, it's not going to last. They actually delayed school 2 hours this morning because of it, because the temperatures were pretty cold and there's a risk of icage and slippage and all that kind of stuff. So not that it mattered for Vanessa since she's doing running start. Does one class at Kent Ridge and it doesn't start till 1 anyway. So every day is like a 4-hour delay for her. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Thoughts, watch your step. I know. Don't walk and text. Don't walk and stream. I definitely won't be breaking any time records today doing this. Walking in the snow and I'm trying to do this at the same time. ACA, what's happening? Oh, your birthday's coming up on the 22nd. That's in about 2.5 weeks. Cool. Ooh, we have other humans here. How's it going? You got delayed school today, right? Yeah. Nice. All right, into the woods we go. For me, song Selena Gomez, 2023. All right, I'll have to dive into that one. Vanessa was asking me, so what song do you want to put in your music video this year? So I haven't. I haven't thought about that. But I guess I have to start doing it in the next couple months. So I will think about that. Kate says the Giants didn't franchise Saquon. Could he be in the open market? Oh, as far as the video from yesterday, I didn't do a specific video just about KJ. I mentioned it, I think it was at the end of my video with about the, I got convoy coming through here. What was I saying? I put the end of the video about the rust being cut. And I did a Bleacher Report live stream yesterday. I think I might put it up anyway. It's free agent targets. One of those targets is already off the board. Brian Burns, the edge rusher from Carolina, I thought could be a good target. They franchise tagged him this morning, so I'm excited for some kind of obsolete. But we'll see. I put up anyway. I remember I used to ride my bike everywhere when I was a kid, like that. I guess they still do that sometimes. Oh, Tyler Parcher's out walking too. I wonder if he's got snow. I would imagine he does up north there. I don't know where these branches. I think these branches are laying low because of the snow holding them down. I'll hold them down. Look at this. We got a tree in the path. Low bridge. Definitely a victim of snow weightage. Bowing down. All right, back to it. Back to the comments at hand. What wildlife is out here? On my walking out here, I've never run into any creatures on the paths. But I will say in our neighborhood, even amongst the streets in our neighborhood, you will find deer. There's been plenty of deer sightings around here. I have seen people's cameras catching black bears on occasion, rummaging through their garbage and things like that. I'll put the thumb in. His thumb is freezing. Keep this one open. So I've seen footage of black bears. There's some coyotes on occasion, and there's been a cougar sighting once in a blue moon. But on this trail, I've never seen anything. Watch the other day. YouTuber gets attacked by wild cougar. 1 million views. All right, what else we got? I think oh yeah, I can scroll without taking my gloves off. Okay, walking is great exercise. That's the goal. A couple miles a day, 35 minutes or so, and I do this at least 5 times a day. 5 times a day, 5 times a week, if not every day. Now Doug should be the assistant wide receivers coach for the Hawks. I think the thing is, we have this perception that because a player, mud out here too, because a player was great and now he's retired, we all think he should just start coaching. I think what we've learned, the reality is, some guys just don't want to work that hard. That's not what they want to do. They could, they'd probably be good at it, but I think coaching is hard. They put in long hours every day, probably days, mornings, and nights. You're traveling, you're gone from home a lot. You know, the guys are retired who got things kind of financially locked up. It's like they could just live the good life and do things they want to do charitable things and just other things that are just more fun and less work. Do the appearances, do broadcasts, stuff like that. That's what Richard Sherman did. I mean, it's a heck of a lot easier gig. Yeah, you're traveling a lot on that, but you're not having to do as much of a grind. It's like starting another career. Versus, if you got your own already, you're already kind of set. You've already kind of established your celebrity persona, so you're already kind of jumping in ahead of the game. But if you're jumping in as an assistant coach, you're kind of jumping in ground level. And doing Niners from Batcher. And this is a name that I would recognize. You do a Niner impression on taking an ex-Seahawk. Okay, let me blow my nose real quick first. You are the most disgusting man I have ever met. That's one of my once spoken when I did that in Japan back in 1985 as an exchange student. He was grossed out, never seen that before. You are the most disgusting man I've ever met. Okay, a 49er impression taking on KJ Wright, former Seahawk, to their organization. There you go. So, KJ Wright has seen the light. If joining the 49ers is right, certainly don't want to be wrong. And he's making the right choice, joining a winning organization, a Super Bowl type organization. Why would you join some loser team like the Seahawks, Seahawks, who haven't done jack squat, the doormat of the NFC West as far as we're concerned? Smart man, KJ, right? Smart man. You see you in practice. You better not screw this up, because you have some of the best linebackers in the world. All you can do is succeed. If you fail, that's on you. Oh yeah, and get Dre Greenlaw's Achilles fixed stat. There you go. There, you happy? Just kidding. That was funny. That was fun. All right, so I don't know. I'm at the halfway point of the walk or so. Maybe slightly less than half. I doubt Crisosmo is around since he jumped in the lake. Nope. Proved. Must be nice to be out there, says Seahawks Nation, enjoying the vibe. I always love a good snow day. I know it wreaks havoc on traffic and all that, and I guess it's the inner kid in me. The inner kid that whenever the snow falls at night, you always think the next morning, maybe they'll cancel school. Maybe they'll cancel school for several days. That was always the hope. Now as a parent, it's like, oh man, what a pain. Now it's going to be traffic. What am I going to do? Because kid's not going to be at school tied up for the next 8 hours. Then I have to figure out something. Got to get food ready for him or her. Nah, I still love it. Something fun about it. Like I said, it's probably the last snow of the year. Unless some other fluky cold hits. I have a feeling it's going to rain in the next few days and wash all this wintry fun away. Might even melt this afternoon. I think how the snow is falling off the tops of the trees and the branches, making it feel like it's snowing right now. All right, where are we at? Got the Crisosmo reaction. Cold in Bellingham, no snow since yesterday. Sue says, sunny and warm in Southern Carolina. I'm outside in a t-shirt. Good for you. We've had weird weather all really around the whole country with windstorms and snow in California. It's cold there, and we had crazy winds. You see that in Vegas a couple days ago over the weekend? Planes couldn't even land because they're getting blown so hard sideways. In-laws who live down in Vegas and been there a lot more in the last few years. But it's typically pretty windy anyway on a normal day. Like 100 mile an hour winds. Planes having to try to land sideways. Hey, person, Tyler Roberts, what's up? Don't be surprised if Saquon ends Houston. It's almost melted already. Alena, favorite moderator, is here. Cannot believe the news about KJ. Wow. I know you were a huge fan of his as well as his show. Big thanks again for shouting me out to those guys on the super chat to let them know about the whole fan of the year thing, and KJ saying a nice message. That was pretty cool. Mickey is here. Bobo says if KJ does well and Mr. McDonald doesn't work out well, he will be the Seattle head coach. Well, let's see how that all plays out. I hope you're wrong, because I want Mike McDonald to obviously have a successful tenure here for years to come. we will find out. These days, head coaches don't get long leashes unless you're producing these days. You have very short leashes nowadays. People want results, want them quick. See what Michael McDonald can do. But KJ, again, I think he's got a little bit of a ladder to climb, because you don't really jump from assistant linebacker coach to head coach in like one quick spell. Now I'm hoping 10 years from now, Michael McDonald's led us to a couple of championships and things are great, and for whatever reason decides to move on. I mean, he's so young though. It's like, why would he leave? I feel like Michael McDonald's either here, it's gonna be a short stint or a really long one, because certainly age got no factor in that. It's all just gonna come down to how well does he lead this team to the promised land. And the other factor to that too is eventually at some point the Allen estate is going to sell the team to somebody. You know, a lot of people assume that Jeff Bezos could be the obvious next in line to acquire the Seahawks. But we'll see if, when change of ownership happens, when that happens, what state will the Seahawks be in at that point, and what changes could come at that time. Obviously, winning solves all issues, so as long as he just keeps winning, everybody's grinning, and we'll all be good for a time to come. So hopefully we get off to a good start next year. I just want to be, at least record-wise, just better than last year. I mean, this year my minimum. We finished, what were we, 9-8 again? So you want to just be at least in double-digit wins. I feel like you get double digits, you're in the playoffs. So really, I'm kind of saying we got to make the playoffs. But you want some improvement, preferably on both sides of the ball. You don't want to regress. And I can't see our defense regressing any more than they already had in the last 2 years. It's kind of hard to go any lower when you're already at the lowest. So one of the nice things about starting at the bottom, only way is up. So we'll see what he does. Well, no, it's crazy to think. In 5 months, we'll start seeing football again. I feel like those 5 months are going to go pretty quick. All right, about to enter the stretch of trail here that will take me back out of the woods. This is a woodside trail here near my house. Really creepy, I pan back. So there's a bear. That would be freaky as hell. And I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do. If I'm just walking and suddenly there's a bear in front of me, I know you don't run because it's just going to make the bear want to chase you. I can't remember if you're supposed to make yourself big and you know, act like you're bigger than the bear, or are you supposed to throw something at it? You're supposed to yell like a lunatic, or are you supposed to go down in a fetal position? I really don't know. I always get them confused. Like if you see a cougar, it's different from a bear. All I know is running is never good. That just turns on the chase instinct. That's bad news, because you know they're going to run my slow ass down. Can't climb a tree, know that much. We wrote that in our little Rivals video script. I guess if I were to listen to what Brian After said in the script, which I wrote, you're supposed to pretend dead and hope he's not hungry. So I guess that's the answer. I don't know if cougars work the same way. You can just pretend dead. I know it's play dead, but pretend dead became one of the funniest bloopers in that whole thing. All right, where are we at here? I'm way behind. Can I stream? Tyler wants to know if I'm going to stream the Kraken game Friday. Yes, I will. I I will be going to my first ever Kraken game on Friday night with Mark Collins, Patrick, and maybe another guest. I'm not sure how many of us, 3 or 4 of us. And yeah, I'm going to stream it. My first time at Climate Pledge. My daughter's actually been there like 3 times already for concerts. Haven't been there once yet. So I'm looking forward to watching that hockey action. I need to do a little research, get myself familiar with the players on the team, where we're at. I haven't really not been paying that close attention to what's been happening lately. So I don't even know where they stand in terms of playoff contention. How crucial are these games coming down? I assume they got to keep winning to have a shot. All right, we're out of the woods now. Back to the neighborhood. I have to pick up the pace because I've got a dental appointment later this morning. Here, I cleaned up. All right. Oh, they have a brand new intro for the Kraken. I never saw the first one, so it'll be all brand new to me. I see a lot of people saying hi to each other. That's cool. Didn't McDonald sign a 6-year deal, though? Yeah, he did. But as we know in the NFL, any contract can be null and void if the team decides they don't want to cut you. Russell was supposed to have a 5-year contract extension. And here he is. The price they pay is the money they guaranteed him. So any length of time doesn't necessarily apply. In fact, most players' contracts, rarely do they ever go to the full extent of their contractual term. Usually there's some renegotiation or trade or some type of deal that happens. Let's see. KJ has to start somewhere because he wants to coach. Just you. Absolutely. Opening week, March 30th against Boston. Wow. Meritt starts end of March. That's really crazy. I thought it was like April, but I guess end of March is almost the same thing. I hope McDonald's succeeds. Seahawks Nation, now I'm curious to see where Russell ends up. That's going to be very fun to see here in the next few months. Could be right away, but I feel like it'd make more sense for teams and for us to wait to see how the draft shakes out, free agency shakes out, because then it'll be very clear as to what teams are thinking. Because these teams with quarterback needs, they're either going to go after somebody in the draft, or they don't get somebody who's, their franchise guy, then Russ could be that transitional guy. I mean, Russell Wilson's kind of at that point now. At his age, the situation he's getting out of, he'll be fortunate to get a starting position, like where he just give it to him. I know Pittsburgh has been mentioned a lot. Raiders have been mentioned. Atlanta's been mentioned. But I don't think even the Steelers would just hand it to him and say, "You're the guy." You'd have to make him compete with Pickett, who they drafted high, and they wouldn't just hand it over. Is Russ willing to take a backup spot if he doesn't get the starting job? I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, even though, if any through all this, we know financially he's fine. But now what he'll be concerned about moving forward is, what's his legacy? What will he be remembered for? I don't think he wants to be remembered as a guy who, got kicked out of the Broncos and looked at as one of the biggest failures in the NFL, and he gets relegated to a backup position and then disappears in nowhere. I mean, that is not the legacy he wants. He said on his Brandon Marshall interview, which is kind of a joke actually, that he wants to win a couple of championships in the next 5 years. He might win a couple championships, but he might be doing it as a backup. don't know. I can't just, to me, I just don't see any teams that are just going to openly, with everything that went down, to just say, hey, we'll roll out the red carpet for you too, because that worked out so well last time. And you're the guy. We're going to fix you. Because in 2 years, and with somebody like Sean Payton, you couldn't really get fixed. At least to a point where they believed you could leave them for the next few years. Granted, he had a decent year last year. It was not bad. The year before was bad, but he was better this past year, numbers-wise. But it might have been more than just the numbers. Could have been a personality thing. Could have been a locker room or mindset thing. That maybe all this time the Seahawks have done a job of hiding from everybody else. And the writing's kind of on the wall that was probably true, because you hear the stories from players themselves saying how Russell got special treatment. Pete was careful to make sure that they wouldn't criticize Russ. He was kind of untouchable, whereas everybody else was sort of like, what's going on? How come he gets the pass and you don't? The whole thing about you can't really talk to him, he doesn't really hang out with the guys. I don't know, maybe all this stuff kind of just worked in Seattle because Pete made it work. I was listening to PFE Pro Football. They're talking about how, after they do this, you see that oftentimes when the players release prematurely, but you see a lot of guys jumping to his defense saying, this was a mistake. He should have been here. Just makes you go, maybe there's more truth to all this than we realize. I think Pete got pushed out. There's that rumor that he actually had indicated that this might be his last year, and at the last minute changed his mind that he wanted to stay, but by that time they'd already kind of made up their mind that they were going to move on. We'll never really know about that, but sometimes when you hear the rumor, I found it, especially now looking back at all these stories involving Russ, and not wanting to believe the rumors, the more I've heard after the fact, after he was gone, there were more information validating that a lot of these stories were true. That kind of shattered my image I had before. Let's see, almost home. I guess we're beginning. Alena, Broncos were a ticking time bomb with Russ. So I'm not that surprised them letting Russ go. Would have been interesting if that first game when Russ came back to Seattle, we really should have lost that game. We were super lucky if you think about it. We had 2 goal line stands that resulted in fumbles. How often does that happen? And at the end, the way they blundered the last few seconds to eventually go for a crazy kick instead of going for a first down and trying to, just get a first down, get within makeable field goal range, then just nuts. But that kind of set the tone. Who knows if Russ had started out with a win against Seattle? Who knows how the season would have went? Anyway, gotta go. We'll talk to y'all later. Friday for sure. I've video before that point. I am working on a documentary about my trip to Vegas, kind of a longer form, but the entire journey I've gone through this past year, where it all started with the whole Fan of the Year experience and culminating in Vegas. It was quite a ride, and I want to share with you everything that I got to witness. So we will talk to y'all later. Have a good rest of your day. Talk soon. Bye.